Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how I made the Old Chateau from the Sinnoh games of the Pokemon series. As a kid, the Old Chateau scared the absolute shit out of me. I remember taking one look at this scary mansion and deciding that it wasn't worth it, even if I really wanted Rotom. As an adult, it's nothing I can't handle, but I figured that since it was part of my experience playing Pokemon, especially for my first Pokemon game, it was only fitting that I sat down and made the chateau. I start by making some templates off screen, and then trace them onto foam. I'm happy to report that my measurements were significantly better this time around, which is proof that I really do need to start measuring things. The shapes get cut out and then glued together into a rectangle. The entry for the shadow is done the exact same way, turning the rectangle into more of a T-shape. I trim the interior walls down where the entryway is, and then turn my attention to the base. The chateau's floor is very simple. It just gets a step glued to the front of it. A layer of goop is brushed and then stippled on to create a stone texture. The floor is painted grey and then dry brushed with a lighter grey. As I'll need a way to access the tea light later on, I didn't glue the chateau down to the floor. The base plate was a cheap clipboard that I cut in half, and then smothered in a thin layer of glue. In a shocking twist, I decided to sprinkle on the modelling dirt this time. This gets sprayed down in isopropyl alcohol and watered down PVA glue. I glue the floor of the chateau onto the base, and then once everything dries, I cover most of the dirt in glue. I then sprinkle modelling grass onto the base. Another layer of isopropyl alcohol and glue, and we're good to go. I then turned my attention to the fences. I opted not to make the entire fence as I didn't have enough room on the base. I cut some large skewers to size, and then after shaving down some of them to make them look uneven, I start gluing them together. They then get a brown wash and then a white dry brush to give the illusion of peeling paint. The two fences then get glued into place on the base. It was then time to painstakingly apply long tufts of grass, accurate to the tall grass we see in game. Whilst you're watching me do that, I would like to give a Patreon shout out. I would like to congratulate Reese Hines Baker for becoming my first patron. Your support is greatly appreciated. Once the grass was done, I made a little Pokeball off screen out of some clay. This too gets glued to the base, as a permanent reminder for me to go back and find all the items I missed. Time to go back to the building. I start by cutting out the windows, and then a space for the door, and then proceed to make said door with various bits of cardboard. The door gets glued into place, and then the chateau's walls are then framed with more cardboard. To make the stone columns, I take some strips of foam, scribe some lines into them with a pencil, and then glue them into place. I then frame all the windows with some more cardboard. The building then gets covered in a layer of watered down modelling paste. This is to give the walls a stucco texture, and to age the building a little bit in later steps. The roof starts as two pieces of cardboard glued together on an angle, and then that's glued to the main building. The roof for the entry is done the exact same way. I cut out some holes in the roof, and then attached the dormers, which were made using the techniques I've already shown in this video. From there it was just a case of attaching each roof shingle one by one. This took a while, but it wasn't as bad as some other projects I've done. Once the roof was capped off, it was just a case of hiding all of the ugly edges with more cardboard. The chateau was primed white as I'm going to be using a lot of light colours on it. The walls get a dark ivory colour, and the window frames get brown. The wall frames get a slightly darker shade of brown, and the door gets a dark red. The frames along the bottom of the building get a very light grey, as well as the door frame itself, and the columns get a very dark grey. The missing shingles on the roof get a dark brown, and then the roof gets a coat of almost blinding yellow. The columns get a black wash, and all the cracks in the walls get a watered down black wash, similar to panel lining. All of the roof tiles then get a watered down brown wash along the bottom of each tile. This was to create a water damaged effect. Using the same brown wash, I continue this along the bottom of the chateau. With the exception of the door, I then dry brushed the entire model with lighter versions of their respective colours. Once all the paint had dried, I decided that the roof was far too bright still, so I used a very watered down black wash to help age it further. Time for some finishing touches. I cut off a piece of a cheap plastic file holder, and as you can see it diffuses the light from the tea light pretty well. After trimming to size, it gets glued in place behind all of the windows. I then glue down some greenery in choice spots along the chateau, trying to mimic the look of growing vines. I think I could have used some more greenery here, but I didn't want to go overboard, especially since the base has a lot of greenery on it. Once the glue dried, that was it. Thank you for watching! I had a lot of fun with this project, and I plan on doing some more Pokemon ones in the near future. I might even try my hand at sculpting one out of clay one of these days. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, have a good one!